Hey y'all, welcome back for another hunting ammo ballistics gel test. Today we got a lightweight in 7/08. We've got Hornady's custom light 120 grain SST reduced recoil load. And here's your box for that Hornady custom light reduced recoil ammunition. The 120 grain SST out of the 7mm-08. Let's go ahead and flip it around. Here is your promo info for the line of ammo and the SST bullet. Feel free to stop, pause, and read all that if you would like. Let's go ahead and take a look at stated velocity. Velocity is stated at 2,675 feet per second at the muzzle. Let's go ahead and pull this stuff out and take a look. There we go, whipping one out. And there's your 120 grain SST and your 7/08. Let's go shoot it and see how it does. And my test rifle today is my Ruger American Gen 2, chambered in 7mm-08, of course. It's got a 20-inch barrel, and we are taking advantage of that threaded muzzle. Up top, we've got a Vortex Diamondback scope, and I've got it in my own custom-painted Gen 1 stock. And coming on back, I've got to show you one of my handmade leather cartridge cuffs. Check out my website, masonleather.com, to get yourself one. I would love to make you one. And I've also got one of my super thick Latigo leather slings here, also available on my website, masonleather.com. If you're looking for a leather sling that'll last a lifetime, you're going to want to check these out. And coming around to the other side, I've got to show you my whitetail deer design.
We'll be taking 3 shots from 100 yards, firing into 10% ballistics gel that has been calibrated to meet the FBI's ballistics testing protocol. And while ballistics gel isn't an exact proxy for big game, it does provide a repeatable medium through which to test various bullets and ammo against each other. After the shots, we'll examine bullet expansion, weight retention, penetration, and velocity. My goal is to provide hunters like you and I with the most objective information possible to help us make the best choice for our particular hunting situation. The ballistics gel in this video has been sourced from Clear Ballistics. You can find a link in the description.
So let's go ahead and shoot it. And here are the 3 shot velocities for that Hornady custom light reduced recoil 120 grain SST load out of the 7/08. We got 2480, 2460, and 2453. And a quick announcement, if you'd like early access to my videos weeks and even months in advance of everyone else, become a channel member. The links will be in the video description and the pinned comment. Thanks, y'all. And we are down here at the blocks after shooting that Hornady managed recoil 125 grain SST load out of the 7/08. I think it was 125 grains. And we captured all 3 bullets. We got one right here on the seam, one right there, and then one is right down there towards the bottom of the block. They all look really good. Looks like they expanded well, held together, and penetrated pretty decently for a managed recoil load. It could have been a whole lot worse. I think this is pretty decent. Penetration wise, this one we're going to count it right there at the seam. We'll give it 16 inches. It's sticking through a little bit on the right side. This one will give, it's kissing 18 inches. And then this one right here is right at about, and we'll give it 20.5 inches. So that's penetration. Coming on over to the first block, they also gave us some decent wound tracks. They kind of pinhole in a little bit and start expanding it around the 2-inch mark. They're a little bit variable, and then create a nice wound track going back to the 9 to 10 inch mark. Again, a little bit of variability. The one that started sooner also ended sooner. So pretty decent wound track, and that's about where you would want it to be for your medium game hunting, whitetail deer, stuff like that. All in all, I think this is pretty decent performance for what these are. Let's dig them out and take a look. And real quick, if you're watching this video anytime around when it came out, I'm having a huge sale on my website, masonleather.com. Go check it out and get yourself something. All right, y'all, we got the bullets out of the blocks. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. Those 120 grain SSTs from the Hornady Custom Light 7/08 load. Weight retention, 94, 96, and 101 grains for an average of 97 grains retained weight. That's 81% weight retention. That's up there for an SST, but not totally surprising because of how slow this stuff was going. We'll get to that in a second. Other than it just being a managed recoil load, it was kind of slow beyond that. So it held together a little bit better than I thought it would, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. On to expansion, 0.62, 0.63, and 0.66 inches for an average of 0.64 inches expanded diameter, and that's 2.2x expansion. And just take a look at these bullets here. The one in the middle and the one on the right in particular just look great. They expanded very nicely, very concentrically. And the one on the left wasn't too far off that. It was a little bit more jagged. They're all going to make a nice hole. and that's over the 2x mark that I like to see. They expanded well. Now on to velocity. This is where we're going to talk about this load for a second. The high velocity was 2480, the low was 2454 for an average of 2465 versus the factory build velocity of 2,675 feet per second. So this did come in at 210 feet per second under factory spec. Now, not totally surprising because yes, we are shooting this through a 20-inch barreled rifle. Nobody provides me rifles. I have to pay for everything with my own money. My rifle has a 20-inch barrel, that's what I'm using. But in order to compare kind of ammo to ammo, apples to apples, what I did, I've tested 19 7mm-08 loads so far. All the videos aren't out yet, but I have all the data, and I made a list of all the velocities, how each one performed versus its factory spec, and came up with what was sort of in range with most of them, what was slower than most, and what was faster than most, as compared to its own spec velocity. And this ammo was particularly slow. Most of them came in anywhere from about 100 foot per second under to 150 feet per second under. Once you get up over that 150 foot per second under, we're in the slow territory. And this isn't the first time Hornady custom light ammo has come in slower than expected, irregardless of barrel length on the channel here. It's happened before. It's already managed recoil. I don't want this stuff loaded even lighter than it's already supposed to be, but it seems to be a little bit of a trend. It is what it is. At the end of the day, it's going to be ultra managed recoil. The stuff ain't kicking very hard, which could be a good thing. Regardless, the bullet still performed really well, and our estimated impact velocity down there at 100 yards will be about 2,268 feet per second. On to penetration, we had 16 inches, 18 inches, and 20.5 inches for an average of right about 18 inches of penetration. And considering this is an SST bullet, you know, shock up front, not going to penetrate too deep, and it's managed recoil, I'm actually pretty happy with the penetration we got. It's inching right up to that 20-inch mark I like to see for medium game hunting ammo. So I'm happy with it. It's not an ammo I'm going to pick for big northern whitetail or big mule deer or something, but for your average whitetail and especially your smaller southern deer, I think it'd do just fine. And kinetic energy wise, with a 120 grain bullet going on average 2,465 feet per second, we're looking at 1,619 foot-pounds at the muzzle and about 1,370 foot-pounds down there at 100 yards. It's a pipsqueak of a load for 7mm-08. Alright y'all, time for my final thoughts on that Hornady custom light 120 grain SST load out of the 708. Overall, it did really well, other than coming in particularly slow on the velocity front. But as I say a lot, that's the last thing I'm really worried about. At typical hunting ranges where most people are taking their shots on, you know, deer, black bear, hogs, and stuff like that, it's not gonna matter that much. And with this stuff, you definitely have a light recoiling load for 708. I think this ammo would make a great option for a youth hunting rifle or someone who's particularly recoil sensitive, or really anybody hunting smaller deer. But I think, as I said back during the penetration talk, it wouldn't be my first choice for bigger deer, not black bear or mule deer or anything like that, and definitely not your bigger wild hogs. Your average ones, yeah, sure, absolutely, all day long. But if you're getting into the territory of hunting stuff where you want a little bit more insurance, this isn't the ammo for you. But I could see a lot of use cases for it. If you've used this ammo on game, let me and everyone else know in the comments how it did for you. And check out my website, masonleather.com, and get yourself some leather gear handmade by me just for you. I've been handcrafting leather gear for hunters for over a decade, and I would love to make you something. And there are hundreds of reviews on my website, so you can see what real hunters have to say about their Mason leather gear. And also tons of photos showing all the customizable options, including name, initial, and caliber stamping, as well as wild game designs and more. Everything is handmade by me right here in the USA. I would love to be a part of your hunt through my leather gear. And it helps support this channel, so I can bring you more hunting ammo ballistics gel tests, and lots of other cool stuff in the future. The link will be in the video description and the pinned comment, or you can just type masonleather.com into your web browser.
And click one of these cards for more hunting ammo ballistics gel tests.